Hey guys, welcome back to Whiskey Blooded. My name is Dave. Thank you for joining me here tonight. It is Sunday night. Good to see you all. It's been a couple weeks since the last video. Thank you for the time off. I've just been busy and the videos take a little longer, so thank you for the time off. Also, sort of running out of content. There's not an unlimited amount of whiskey to review out there, and we've done a lot of videos. So thank you for the time off. I really do appreciate that. I wanted to start this video by saying thank you to all 2,000 plus subscribers because about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, we did hit 2,000 subscribers, which is just crazy for me to think about because I can't imagine listening to someone like me talk about whiskey all the time. I do with other channels, but the other channels are a lot more eloquent than I am. So thank you so much for bearing with me. We've grown the channel. We started off using basically a cell phone to shoot cameras. Then we went to a crappy handheld camera with no good lighting or anything, and half the videos look like shit. Now we're on to a little more professional looking videos, but I'm still learning so much every week and so much of how to grow the channel and make you guys happy. So thank you so much for that. I'll continue to work hard as long as you guys continue to promise to check back and keep watching the videos. So if you don't already subscribe to the channel, please hit the subscribe button below. I would love to, every time I post a video, it pops up right on your phone if you have that set, or you'll see it when you go to your favorites. So as far as how to start this video off this week, after that, I'd like to go over our question from last week. So I had asked you guys last week, what is your favorite vacation place, or favorite vacation, or just, what's your favorite? And so my favorite vacation place and my favorite vacation, I'll go over both. It's in Michigan. It's probably very similar for a lot of us. We have a beautiful island in Michigan, in the northern part of Michigan, in between the lower and upper peninsula, known as Mackinac Island. Now, Mackinac Island is an island, and you can only reach it by ferry. There is no bridge leading to it. There's no cars allowed on the island, so you can't put your car on the ferry and then take it over. There's emergency ones, but as a visitor, there's no cars on the island. You can live on the island, although it's way too expensive to do so. Millions of dollars for a lot of the homes. And it's kind of just a self-run, or not self-run, but the island itself is kind of like run by basically the hospitality business. So there's old hotels that are on the island, old hotels, the Grand Hotel. Google it, it's beautiful. And everything is, kind of catered towards the way things used to be. No cars, no hustle and bustle, no corporations. It's very corporations is in big buildings. It's just very, very cool. Look up some pictures. If you're ever in Michigan, I absolutely would recommend you check it out. It's my favorite place. I used to go there as a kid. My favorite vacation is when we and my wife went there for a honeymoon. We stayed at the Grand Hotel. We also stayed at another hotel, the Iroquois, and we did all of the cool dinner spots. So it's literally one of those places where you go to eat and you go to drink, and everything's safe and everything's within walking distance of each other. So you can go there, have a really good time, and not get yourself in trouble. So that is one of my favorite places to go. Will probably always be one of my favorite places to go. And that's my story about my vacation place. So thanks for sharing yours with me. I read all of them. It was cool to hear about you. I mean, all these tropical places you guys have been. I need to do that. I've never been anywhere truly tropical other than the Cayman Islands, which wasn't even at a resort. It was just kind of on a cruise. We stopped off for a day and then left. So I need to do that. That's something. That's one of my goals. Anyways, so let's go on to this week's review. So I'm going to, I was thinking about that actually. I was thinking about where my vacation and what I was going to say in this video, and then I thought, well, I'll do a Michigan whiskey, and I'll do one that's from that area, Traverse City, northern Michigan. So this is Traverse City Whiskey Company. And part of what prompted me to do this, you guys have been asking me to do local whiskeys, whether it's local to you, not really asking local to me, but mainly local to you. And that's, just so you guys know, very hard to do. It's very hard for me to do. It's very hard for me to do because if I do find them online, they're usually over premium or over what you guys pay, plus shipping. So for me to buy something that I may not really even like, or I may love it, I don't know, but for me to buy something at over premium, then it's just tough for me to do. Not only is it tough to do that, but a lot of them I can't even find online. So if you guys suggest something, if you could do me a huge favor, let me know where you have found it. If it's just local, that might be tough, but if you found it online, let me know. If it's available online, let me know. And if the price isn't that bad, I'll definitely look into it. Or if you have anyone that you know that works or is in touch with the distillery, and they had the ability to basically work with me to get it out here without having to pay all the premiums and the extra major shipping costs that are involved, I would definitely buy a bottle directly from them if that's something that's possible. And even some companies will send out small samples for people that review them. And I'm not asking for anything for free. I really don't care. It's just one of those things that I'd like to do what you guys want to do, and it's tough for me to do that, and it makes me feel bad that I can't easily do it. But in that spirit, we're doing a local one today. This is local Michigan whiskey. Let's go through it. This is Traverse City Whiskey Company. It's 2 years or older on the age statement. Obviously, it's bourbon, so we know that anyways. But Traverse City Whiskey, small batch, handcrafted, aged in new American oak barrels for 2 years or more, 86 proof. 86 proof. So real quick, here we go. Their story is, in Traverse City, we spend endless summer nights by the lake with nothing but a circle of friends, a campfire, and a bottle of whiskey. Here's to more memorable summer nights for our hometown and yours. Cheers. Cheers. So, the color on this one, it's amber, light amber actually. Younger whiskey, so not a lot of that dark age we'd see in like a 6-year-old, 8-year-old. The nose on this one is very sweet. And it's got a little bit of a bite of spice in there too, like an oak, like a lightly charred oak, or lightly toasted oak bite. Get a little bit of sweet apple, get a little bit of, tiny bit of vanilla. And just a hint of like a hot cinnamon. Taste itself is a little different than the nose. It's always fun when that happens. So the taste itself is very sweet up front. And when we taste these whiskeys, and likely this is one of those Indiana source whiskeys, when we taste whiskeys like this, usually younger, smaller, potentially sourced whiskeys, they don't say, we get a lot of corn. We get a whole lot of corn. So I'm tasting that. I'm tasting a whole lot of corn, a lot of sweetness, a lot of apple, a lot of like a little pear, sweet, I think like kettle corn, like a sweet kettle corn kind of base to it. So that's what I get up front. But in the middle, this is where I said it's different than the nose, you get a nice blast of oak heat, oak spice, lightly charred, lightly toasted maybe, lightly charred, lightly toasted. It's hard to say. It's on the lighter side either way of this oak. And at the very finish, just a very little bit of vanilla and an underlying like maple brown sugar taste, which is quite good. Now, what I found with whiskeys that are either tell you that they're sourced or that I believe to be sourced whiskeys from Indiana, you find this very characteristically. They're younger. They're very high in the corn content, very low in the rye content, because rye is a little bit harder to source and a little bit more expensive. So I find this to be very characteristic to other whiskeys that are sort of like this one. And I've reviewed a couple here on the channel. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, actually these whiskeys are some of probably when you bring this to friends that are complete, you know, whiskey and straight and neat drinking friends, or new to neat drinking friends, novices, they really do like this. I mean, it's sweet, right? So it's very sweet. It's very easy to drink because of that. It's very young, so you don't have a lot of those more complex tastes. It's different for the beginner whiskey drinkers. Not necessarily just the beginner. It depends on your flavor. But if you like sweeter things, which a lot of people confuse with smoother, if you like that, then you go for these younger ones. You go for these high corn contents, and you really can hit a home run with these, which is why companies like this are even selling stuff. Oh, and this was, by the way, think it was about $40 for the bottle. $40, if I remember correctly. Maybe even 50. It was a couple months ago I bought this. Yeah. So it's overall, you know, kind of what I would expect it to be. And I've drank it, obviously. You can see that. I used it for some cocktails too. Let's do this, though. We'll do a little bit of water. And I don't have a ton left here. A lot of you guys have been saying I've been doing too little water. Now, this is only 86 proof. So we don't want to put a ton in there. So I'm going to add 2 milliliters, which is a lot more than I've added in the past. So we'll do 2 milliliters instead of just a couple drops. And that, hopefully, I have no idea how to tell how much to dull it down. I see a lot of reviewers and a lot of people and a lot of like whiskey, like cocktail places. If you go and you want to water it down, they add a teaspoon, right? So we're going to be a little bit over a teaspoon with that. Maybe even just around a teaspoon with that. So here we go. Oh, as we let it sit, we do this every week. The question for next week. I'm just going to keep it really simple this week. If you watched the video before Valentine's Day, what are you going to do for Valentine's Day? Or do you have any great surprises in mind? If you watch this after Valentine's Day, what did you do for Valentine's Day? So I can't tell you what I'm going to do right now. And I always do it in the next video anyways, but I couldn't anyways because my wife would hear me. So that's not going to be a thing for me. But I will tell you guys next week, obviously, at that point. Hopefully she knows what I've done for her for Valentine's Day. Otherwise, that was a really shitty Valentine's Day present. So cheers with the water here. Let's give it a nose. The nose opens up the sweet more. More sweet, more apple. It's almost like someone dropped in, what are those things called? Oh boy. Sweet tart into it. It's almost like someone dropped in a sweet tart. So very sweet. But it does have this neat little, like, menthol smell at the end. That was not there at all in the smell or taste in the beginning. I don't like what the water's done to the taste at all on this one. And it's a lower proof, so water's not going to hit it usually too well. Usually lower proof, younger age, water doesn't hit it quite as well. This mainly pushes it in the 2 different directions and takes it out of the middle that I like. One direction, way too sweet. Second direction, on the finish there, really kind of, it truly waters it down. The finish gets very light. So it pulls all of the sweetness and all of the bite out of the end, and it takes all that middle, all that oak, all that burn, all that that charred and toasted taste. It really pulls it out, which is not what you want when you're drinking whiskey. It leaves you with something that isn't what most whiskey drinkers would want. It's not the way I'd want it. Too sweet. Way too sweet. Okay. So what do I think about Traverse City Whiskey Company? I don't like the price. I think this should be like I said, I think I paid $40 for it. I should probably know the price before I do that. But I think it's probably a $25 to $30 bottle. I know I paid more than that for it. So it's probably a $25 to $30 bottle. Bottle itself is cool. It's from Michigan. It's probably a sourced whiskey, so we know basically what we're getting, 2 years or more. Like I said, I maybe even 25 is at the high end. 20 to 25 is what this should be worth. But these probably sourced whiskeys, they are pretty good. I mean, these Indiana sourced whiskeys, it's great corn content, great sweet whiskeys, great for putting in drinks, great for lots of things, and great for beginners, and great for if you want something sweet. So they're good for a lot of things. So I'm going to put this right around, or right at. That sounded awful. Sorry. The chalk making that noise. 80 out of 100. I think that's a fair score. I don't think it's a bad score at all. It would probably be like a little bit higher if price was lower. $25, I'd probably put it in the mid-80s. If it was any more, I'd put it in the 70s to low 70s because it's already getting expensive. So, all right, guys. That's it for this week. I will see you probably next week. I think I'll probably see you next week. I think I have something in mind. Oh, just so you know, we talked about local whiskeys. I think now that some of my content is getting a little bit slower because we're running out of whiskey. We've been doing a lot of videos. I'm going to go a little more into Scotch. I'm going to go hopefully a little more into the local like you guys want, but I'm going to go more into beer because we're reaching a great time of year for beer, especially here in Michigan and a lot of areas. And I'll do the beers that you can probably get your hands on. Not just like, because there's millions of breweries, right? I don't know if there's millions, but there's got to be close to millions of breweries. There's a ton. I mean, I can think of 15 within a couple miles of here. So there's too many of the really tiny local ones to do. I'm going to stick to the major ones. Like, so for example, in California, Stone is one. In Michigan, Founders, and you can get Founders pretty much anywhere in the country, or Bell's here in Michigan. You can get Bell's pretty much in most of the country. Shorts is another example of something from Michigan. Great Lakes Brewery, that's an example of a very widely popular beer company. So I'm going to do the larger ones. I'm not doing chains. I'm not doing like Budweiser, I'm not doing that stuff. I'm doing, good, full flavored beer from not micro distilleries, but craft beer. I'm going to go into that. So I might even do one next week. I'm thinking I probably will. But we'll see. We'll see what the future has in hold. Thank you guys for joining me here today. It's been a pleasure. It always is. Over 2,000 subscribers. Still just blows my mind. So thank you for that. And I will see you guys next time. My name is Dave. This is Whiskey Blooded. I'm out of here. Enjoy your Sunday night.